Hi all and welcome to Chess News. Good morning. I just enjoyed a very nice cup of coffee and some biscuits, and I thought I'd share a nice game fragment with you guys that I stumbled upon yesterday, and it is from the Leasing Rapid World Championship in Mainz, and it was from the 6th round, the game between Viswanathan Anand and Alexander Morozevich. Now they played a Ruy Lopez, and Anand was playing white, Morozevich was playing with the black pieces, and it seemed as though Morozevich had no problems right out of the opening. In the diagram position we have reached the position after white's 21st move, knight g4, but now Morozevich makes a very serious mistake. Actually, it's an immediately losing blunder, but it was not easy to foresee why. I suppose he should have played something modest like h7, h6 to prevent what was coming next, and well, he would have enjoyed a very slight advantage in that case. But after knight g4 he didn't play that. He played the also not very weird looking knight f4. Now this makes sense, right? The knight is on a support point there, it's hovering over white's kingside position, and it's also opening up the diagonal from this bishop here against the pawn on g2, so that pawn now is threatened. But Anand now played bishop takes f4, eliminating that dangerous knight, and after e takes f4, which attacks the white knight on g3 here, Morozevich must have been very surprised, I think, by Anand's next move. And, well, maybe for those folks of you out there that would like to take a short look, I will suggest pause the video. I will count to 5, and maybe you can see what counter blow Anand had prepared here. So pause the video. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He played the very interesting and very strong and immediately winning knight h6 check. And well, I find it hard to condemn Morozevich for this, because this is really a hidden resource. The most important line is, of course, g takes h6, just taking the knight, yeah, when black would be up a piece. But then there is this queen g4 check move, and with tempo after king h8, white now threatens mate on h7 with queen f5. And it doesn't really matter that he's a piece down, because the mating threat is, of course, the most important. And there's only one way to protect against it, and that is to re-sacrifice a piece with black, to play knight f6. Also to open up the 7th rank. We will see later why that is important. But then, of course, white regains the piece with queen takes f6 check. And yeah, after bishop g7, for instance, there would follow queen f5 back, again threatening mate, and I suppose the only move then really is king h8, but after queen takes h7, king f8 and knight h5, it is very clear that white is winning. So after queen takes f6, Morozevich did not play bishop g7, no, he played king g8 rather. But then, of course, again, Viswanathan Anand renewed the threat of taking on h7. But now black could have defended with f7, f6. But it's all too little too late, because after, again, a move like knight h5, it is clear that white is winning this position. There is just simply too much pressure against black's kingside. The pawn on h7 here is, of course, a weakness. The pawn on f6 will fall this guy here is a weakness, and if one of these or two of these pawns fall, it also means that white has an extra pawn here. There's just no sufficient defense. Also, I suppose bishop b3 is threatened in some lines. Okay, but after knight h6, and not the subsequent taking of the knight on h6, which would lose immediately, but rather king h8, Anand here played, of course, knight takes f7 check. But he is still but after king g8, which is of course forced, Morozevich is still threatening here two of white's pieces. And now it is Anand's time to slip up. He played knight e4 here, and of course, if now king takes f7, then bishop b3 is very strong, winning immediately. But after knight e4, Morozevich did not play that. No, he played knight e5, somehow managing to defend the position. But after knight f d6, it became clear that white is still firmly on top, and after a very long technical struggle, Anand indeed managed to win the game in the end. But as mentioned earlier, Anand also slipped up, because after king g8, knight e4 was not the strongest move. No, in fact, he could have decided the game with a very beautiful second piece sacrifice. It goes like this: bishop takes h7. And the idea of this piece sacrifice is to open up the h file, so that black's king also becomes vulnerable for checks on h5. Now, if king takes f7, then queen h5 check, and it's mate on the next move. For instance, king f6, queen g6, checkmate. So let's have a look after bishop takes h7, check, add king takes h7. Then there would follow knight g5 check, and now a very nice checkmate would be king g6, queen h5, king f6, and now maybe this is what Anand missed, for instance, knight h7, checkmate. But probably the most stubborn move would be after knight g5 check, king g8 returning, but then queen b3 check would have been winning, king h8, and now the silent but crushing queen f7, both attacking the rook on e8 and also threatening the king with queen h5. So black can manage to solve one of the threats with rook takes e1 check. White would recapture, of course, and then the only move to prevent against knight h5, sorry, queen h5 and checkmate next move is queen d6. But still, queen h5 would be very strong, because after queen h6, white has knight f7, winning the queen and the game. So, I thought that was a very interesting game fragment. It shows how grandmasters on the top level also make tactical mistakes. Of course, it should be mentioned that this was a rapid game and not a serious game, but still, very interesting tactics. So Morozevich slipped up, and then later Anand slipped up, even though he managed to win the game because his advantage was still significant enough. So I hope you've enjoyed this game fragment. Please until next time, bye bye.